Hello everyone, this is Dr. Michael Maxwell calling. Calling?
Hello,
No.
calling.
Hello, we're calling. This is a call-in. All right, let's try that again. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Michael Maxwell from Total Body Chiropractic and Sports Therapy, and this is Alex Forsyth, our registered massage therapist. What we want to show you today is a couple tips and pointers on how to do a proper downward dog or downward facing dog, which is a common position to be used in yoga, and it's being used in a lot of exercise systems out there today as well. So first let's review common pitfalls or mistakes that are made in the downward facing dog. So Alex, can you go ahead and set yourself up into downward dog? Okay, so the mistake that we commonly see in a downward facing dog is in the effort to create optimum or maximum stretch, we lose the sense of stability. And the stability that we need is not only through the center, through our core, but also through our shoulder girdle. So what you can see here is that Alex is in a little bit of a extended position through her rib cage, and she's a little bit hyperextended through her shoulders. Now, Alex has gotten a lot better at this in the last couple of weeks, so she's kind of avoiding the mistake a little bit. Originally, when we talked about this, Alex was making this position here, and she was actually encouraged to do this in yoga class, was to really push her chest down towards the floor and get extension out of this area here, which is ultimately not a bad thing to get extension out of your thoracic spine, but you don't want to do it at the expense of losing the rib cage relationship to the pelvis. So Alex, can you lie on your back for me? So in most exercise poses, whether it's stretching or mobilization, we want to keep a relative alignment of the rib cage to the pelvis so that they're kind of parallel to each other and in the same relative alignment. So as you can see here, rib cage and the pelvis are basically facing each other. So the top of the pelvis and the bottom of the diaphragm or the rib cage are parallel to each other. What we don't want to see in a downward facing dog or really any other exercise is we don't want to see the loss of that relationship by allowing the rib cage to move anterior or forward to the pelvis. This is going to place a lot of stress on the lower back and ultimately creates a lot of tension through the muscle back, but can also lead to poor stability in the shoulders, especially in that downward facing dog position. So when you're in a downward facing dog, you want to see from this alignment that the rib cage matches up with the pelvis at all times. Okay? So let's say, let's go up here. And up here, knees a little bit wider apart there, Alex. Good. And then just bend your knee just a little bit, and then pull your toes towards the nose there, soles to the ceiling. Good. And then right here, and then go a little bit wider with your knees. So spread your knees out. There we go. Okay. So right there, and then we're going to bring the hands up over here. Okay. So in this position, we're now in a dead bug position, or what we call a 3 to 4 month position for a baby. You want to keep the rib cage down and connected to the pelvis. So if the arms are going up overhead like they do in a downward dog, you want to see that you don't lose this relationship to the pelvis. So if the arms are coming up overhead, you don't want to do that by doing that and losing stability, and Alex will probably tell you that's not that comfortable on her lower back. So we want to keep that connection there so that you're always kind of connected to the rib cage and the pelvis. So let's get up and back into the downward dog position. So if we transfer that awareness of being on your back, arms up overhead, legs in that kind of soles of the ceiling position, it's no different when you come into a downward dog. So just take your knees a little bit wider apart, toes into the ground. Okay, and Alex, what I want you to do is I want you to get nice and strong and stable through your chest while keeping a nice upright and long spine. So we want to have some extension or uprighting through this mid-back. So I'm going to cue Alex to drop a little bit here and push hard into the ground there. Okay, and that creates a nice stable position there. Upright a little bit here, Alex, other way. Yeah, there we go. Good. Okay, now from this position, I'm going to cue Alex to lift her pelvis and push down from the floor. So she's going to push herself up with her hands. There we go. Good. Okay, right there. Okay, and I would suggest that this is probably the best position for Alex to start in. She's got more mobility to use in her shoulders, but I have a feeling that if we push her further with the shoulders, she's not going to be able to follow with her pelvis. What I mean by that is if you're tight out of the posterior chain through the hamstrings and the gastroc, you need the pelvis to rotate down with the rib cage, okay? So if she drops down through here and the pelvis can't follow, what happens? We end up with a little bit of a curve here, and you see this kind of what we call high lordosis, or high kind of curve this way in the thoracic or thoracolumbar junction. You don't want that. You want to keep that connection. So I'm going to tighten up a little bit here, okay, and then long through your spine. And what I want Alex to do is I want her to think about creating a long line from the top of her pelvis to the bottom of her head. And she's going to do that by pushing her hands into the floor, staying nice and strong through the floor, and engaging through that center. And that's a beautiful position there. Now you can see that the pelvis is maybe a little bit out of connection, but she can focus on driving down through here, but not losing this. So don't drop this, Alex. Stay solid here, and then focus on kind of driving your pelvis away from your hands. So push through the hands. Yeah, there we go. And that's how you're going to get that mobility or stretch through the posterior chain. Alex, do you feel that? Yes, she does. Okay, so she's creating the connection through her core and driving her hands through the floor to create the mobilization in the posterior chain, rather than just kind of dropping down here and using gravity to do that, right? Gravity is a beautiful thing, but if you use it in the wrong way, you can create these kind of compensations. You can relax there. So hopefully that helps you. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to really sink into these stretches using gravity rather than maintaining the optimal balance of stability and strength and mobility at the same time. So hopefully that helps, and thanks, Alex, for helping out with this.